Hello, and welcome back to the Sideboard. I am Reuben Bresler, and I am joined by Adam Prosak.
Welcome.
And we have quite an interesting brew here that Twitter was blowing up about when you got under the camera. Tell us a little bit about what you have here.
All right, so I basically have a mono blue Delver deck. Mono blue has been picking up some steam. I know if you watch my stream, I play a lot of mono blue Infect with like not Augur of Bolas. That's what the card, the unblockable Blighted Agent, sure. Blighted Agent, and Rune Chanter's Pike.
Sure.
Play that combination quite a bit. It's really high variance, but really fun. But this has a lot of the same principles to it, and takes advantage of some M13 cards.
Sure. So you're taking advantage of the Snapcaster Mage normal package of Vapor Snag, Ponder, Gitaxian Probe, Thought Scour. Right. Only 2 mana leaks, but also Delver of Secrets.
What's important is that all 12 cantrips are in the deck.
Yes.
So that you can play a low land count and a high spell count, because this deck really needs a high spell count.
Right, and so that you can take advantage of that high spell count with 2 additions from M13, 2 Merfolk in fact, Augur of Bolas, and Talrand Sky Summon. Why don't you tell us about those 2 cards?
Augur of Bolas is Silvergill adept for you Legacy aficionados. It's been unbelievable how good the guy is. It's blocked quite a few Strangleroot guys, and just like kill them the first time for free, because they'll run it in every time and get the counter.
Being a 1/3 is no slouch.
Right. It survived through a Bonfire of the Damned earlier, and then like did some work later in the game. And just having a body and getting you to certain cards, like I've done like turn 2 Augur. Oh look, I found a gut shot your mana accelerant. That happened once today. And it's just all around a good card, and it helps you put more spells in your hand while maintaining your creature count. It's both a spell and a creature, which is important.
The real workhorse of the deck is this Talrand Sky Summoner. Tell us a little bit about him.
Absolutely, he's the engine. For one, I love pondering into ponders, into thought scours, into whatever. So I love playing a bunch of spells for no obvious effect. Well, Talrand the Sky Summoner gives you an obvious effect for just playing a bunch of cantrips.
Excellent. Yeah, and you've got 6 free spells, 2 each of Mutagenic Growth, Mental Misstep, and Gut Shot.
Yeah, and technically Gitaxian Probe can be
also
free.
Gitaxian Probe, so you have actually a full 10 free spells in the deck.
Correct.
And I assume that these are all for different instances. The Mutagenic Growths for surviving creature battles or avoiding whip flares and bonfires. Mental Missteps for countering other Delvers and mana accelerators.
Yeah,
Rancors, another big important one. And Gut Shot for much of the same reason.
Yeah, Gut Shot's been Gut Shot.
Yes,
for
Gut Shot's been Gut Shot, sure. You also have Moorland Haunts in the deck, which people have been sort of moving away from, but in the mono blue version that can take more advantage of you have more drakes, you have way more things to be able to put swords on. It's a welcome re-edition.
Yeah, I still think the classic Angel Geist Delver still plays Moorland Haunts, and I think it's a good addition to any deck that can support it. This harkens back to like the old days where people didn't have white spells in their Delver decks.
Right. Yeah, I remember playing Illusions, and I didn't have any white spells in my deck.
Yeah.
So
back when we played Phantasmal Bear.
Exactly, those were the days.
Yeah,
I played Phantasmal Dragon at that stage. So now, speaking of Angel Delver, you've got Angels in the sideboard, also in the outfield, but the sideboard mostly. Yeah. That was a nice little reference I thought I'd throw in there. But yeah, so you've got the 4 Angels in the sideboard. Tell us a little bit about what those come in for.
As good as Talrand is, Talrand is a little weak to Bonfire of the Damned. And by a little weak, I mean a lot weak.
Sure.
It's really bad against Bonfire. So that's just like a straight swap. I didn't want to... Mono Blue actually has quite a weakness. Augur helps pick up the slack. I think you need to play Augur. You can't play like Invisible Stalker or anything like that, because otherwise Bonfire just kills you every time they draw it.
Sure. Tell us about the rest of the sideboard you have.
Okay, so between the main and the sideboard, I have 2 images main, 2 images sideboard. I think that's very, very important to both battle Thragtusk and like put on speed bombs.
You had a very interesting situation actually in the last match with Phantasmal Image.
Phantasmal Image was nice under camera.
Yeah, sure was. So you be sure to go back and watch this match because it was great.
Pretty cool.
His opponent was on Frights and unearthed or unburial rights a Crater Host Boar, putting Crater Host Praetor hoofed Behemoth.
Yes.
And hoofed Adam down to 1, and then Adam just completely iced him with a Phantasmal Image and just bashed him with about 90 Drakes that were all 5/5.
Yeah, he sent 17 power, made me chump block with made this a Talrand a 4-mana gain 2 life, so I could go to 1.
Yep.
And then I had like random creatures. I think I had a Snapcaster Mage, an Augur, and an unflipped Delver.
Yeah, Augie's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Augur, just being a creature is
Yep.
really important. Like you want creatures to put your swords and your Moorland Haunts on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and
it's just
5
like
toughness is no slouch on Augie. Tell me about the rest of the sideboard.
Okay, so we have the 4 Restoration Angels, a Cavern of Souls to help cast them. I only have 7 white sources and only 18 lands, so I want a 19th land and an 8th white source. Usually Cavern's going to name Angel, just for the mana and those things. Cavern's probably the best mana source for the job, simply because you can bring it in to protect your Talrands.
And then you've got Steel Sabotage for swords, presumably.
Yeah, Steel Sabotage is my favorite disenchant effect.
You've got
still is.
Dismembers and gut shots for more creature matchups.
Yeah, well, not necessarily like, just creature matchups, but like when you want removal spells. Like for example, against Dungrove Green, I would not bring in the Dismember.
Sure. What about the Dissipate and the Negate?
Since I only have 2 mana leaks in the main, you want a good critical mass of counterspells, so you always have you can always dig to 1 to 2 against like an Esper deck or any slow deck, a Battle of Wits deck.
Sure.
So you want about 5. 5 is a number I've been happy with, and once you want them for only these slow matchups, they can be negates. You're not counting on creatures.
Sure.
Like Cavern of Souls makes countering creatures a losing proposition, so you might as well just have the negate so they can't play around Mana Leak at all points.
Excellent. Well, what's your record right now?
I am currently 4-0.
4-0. We'll keep track of your progress the rest of the day. Adam Prosak, thank you so much for
thanks
joining
for
us on
having me.
Sideboard. Yeah.